Today we have Paul Yook, founder of BioShares, here to talk about investing in the biotech sector and the company's exchange-traded funds. BioShares Biotechnology Products Fund is ticker BBP, and the company's Biotechnology Clinical Trials Fund is ticker BBC, both on the NASDAQ. So let's go to Paul to learn more about BioShares.
That's a great question. I think people today are underweight biotechnology. So if you invest in the S&P 500, you have about a 3% weight in the biotech sector. And the problem with that is what you're investing in is 7 biotech stocks out of those 500, and those 7 are the mega cap, very large biotechnology companies, companies like Gilead and Amgen and Biogen. Now these are fantastic companies, but they don't necessarily have the growth profile of the emerging next generation drug companies that I think a lot of people want the correct exposure to. So we believe that a great way to get biotechnology exposure is through a diversified, passively managed indexed fund like our BioShares ETFs. So our BioShares ETFs are a little bit different from the other ETFs on the market. Now, when we launched our funds in December of 2014, there were 5 biotech ETFs already on the market. The largest one is a fund with the symbol IBB, a great fund run by iShares. And what I would say is the problem with that fund is it doesn't give you necessarily the exposure that some people want to the smaller emerging companies in the space. The IBB is a market cap weighted ETF, and it gives you essentially exposure to a handful of very large companies, again, companies like Gilead and Amgen and Biogen. What we've done is we've equal weighted our indexes, which gives you more exposure to the smaller companies, and then we've done something very different, which is we've split up the group into 2 separate buckets of stocks. So there are product companies and clinical trial companies when we view the sector. The clinical trial companies are those very early stage companies that do not have a drug yet on the market and has not yet achieved FDA approval. So these are more emerging companies, higher volatility stocks, and our BBC fund has approximately 70 stocks like that today with an average market cap of $1.5 billion with higher volatility, arguably higher risk, higher reward. Our other fund is the BBP, or the Products Fund. And that fund is arguably lower volatility and lower risk because every company in this basket, there are approximately 36 today, has already an FDA-approved drug on the market that they're selling. And so this is more of a product sales growth story rather than more of a speculation and hoping to get a drug approved and on the market. So we've split it into 2 universes. We think there are different audiences for the 2 baskets of stocks, clinical trials and products. Our overall parent firm is called LifeSci Partners, and today our business has 3 distinct units. We have an investor relations business, an investment banking business called LifeSci Capital, and then our investment management business today, which runs our ETFs. So we have about 25 people at the firm. There are 6 people on our research team with PhDs and medical and MDs, and we publish research on many different companies. We're constantly meeting with the CEOs, chief medical officers, CFOs of different companies, and we're really reading the scientific literature, attending medical meetings, and really all we do is biotechnology and healthcare. Our BioShares funds are indexed, passively managed funds. So we have very simple rules that dictate what goes into the fund and what doesn't. So first off, a company needs to be a pure biotech company. We exclude generic drug companies. We exclude life science tool companies which make equipment for the labs. These are great companies, but we wanted to make a pure biotech company index. The second thing we do is we have minimum market caps of $250 million and minimum trading volume of $2 million average daily turnover in order to get into our funds. We rebalance twice a year in December and in June, and we also equally weight our indexes. And then finally, our companies have to be U.S. companies or have a primary U.S. listing.
If you want to learn more about BioShares, you can visit the company's website, bioshares.com. Thanks for watching Corporate Profile.